Okay, so welcome back. The next stage is to try and use OBS to tweak what we're sending to Facebook. Now, there's a couple of things we can do very simply. If we go to the video filter, we can add things like a sharpen. I can improve the sharpness of the video slightly with a sharpen filter. I can make the color a bit more richer perhaps by upping the saturation. It's gone really orange now. In the audio I can add a couple of things quite easily. I can add put some noise suppression in perhaps. Actually, I have no idea what that does, but it might be helpful. But there aren't many filters you can do, except you can use a thing called a VST filter. Now, VST plugins is what is the backbone of most recording software. And so what we'll do is we'll get hold of some free plugins that we can use. And I think the most versatile suite of free plugins is the Melder ones. So you have to download the whole lot, and we will just choose. I've already actually downloaded these before, so let's save some time and go into that. So these are the Melder plugins that I just downloaded before. So when these plugins will have things like reverb, auto pitch, EQ, noise gates, all sorts of things. But the main one I suppose we're looking for is reverb and perhaps EQ. Quite a strange installer, the Melder installer. Basically, it gives you the whole lot. And then you have to decide what you don't want. So we don't want the AAX ones. And let's just get rid of some of these. And we just want the free bundle. So there we have 37 plugins in the free bundle. Quite a lot, yeah. And some of these are more useful than others. The auto pitch is not bad. The charm verb is a good reverb. The convolution is an okay reverb, I believe. The MEQ is decent, treble, bass, etc. What else? The metronome is probably good. I don't use it. The notepad is quite handy. The recorder is nice. I like the stereo expander, actually. That makes everything sort of shift into more stereo than it actually is. Quite like. Anyway, so let's get those installing. Just let it put it wherever it wants to. So these plugins are great because they're going to work with OBS, but they're actually also going to work when we come to look at Reaper, which is going to be the next stage. At the moment, we're just looking at plain OBS, because in theory, we should just be able to put some sound plugins into OBS and get some decent sound, and we will get a half decent result, but there will be a little bit of a problem in monitoring, because the whole point of it, if you're adding reverb, you really do need to know how much reverb you're adding, and the one thing you don't want is any delay, because if there's any delay you will think it's reverb. So what often happens is you think you've put half a ton of reverb on, you've actually put none on, and what you were hearing and mistaking for reverb was actually just latency, delay. Just ignore that, because I think my OBS is already loaded. Okay, so for now, if I go back into OBS, I should have shut it down while that was installing really, but I think I'm okay. And now if I go into filters on the audio input, And if I've got one filter working already. I've actually got the end recorder working, because I want to make sure that the sound that you hear from this tutorial is the actual sound that I'm hearing in my headphones. So I've actually sneaked in one plugin already. But let's add the reverb. Okay, so we'll use a thing called M-Charm Reverb. M-Charm Verb. And I'll go to presets, and the preset I quite like is this thing called White Trail. And this is one. You can see that OBS is not really used to handling it plugins. It's got slightly screwed up the user interface there. Let's have a look at it again. There we go. Right, so obviously this can go to high levels or low levels, but you'll notice the sound's not changing. That's because we're not monitoring the sound. So I'm going to put that to about 25%, which is quite a chunky amount of reverb. But I'm not really hearing it. I'm not hearing it because I haven't got monitoring turned on in OBS. So I go to the advanced audio settings, and I see that against my audio input capture, there's my nice mono and there's my little delay, but I have monitor off. So I need monitor on. So I have monitor and output, and suddenly I hear loads of reverb, and this seems a bit suspicious, to be honest. So let's go back into the filters and open Charm Verb and turn all the reverb off. And now we can still hear reverb, and that is the delay. So we turn that up 30%, because I know that's a good amount. But actually what I'm finding is that the monitoring is just not working. It's far too slow. So you're better off going back, turning it off, and now you know that there is some reverb on. I think what I'll do actually is I'll put the reverb higher, so that when we listen to it in Facebook, we'll be able to really notice that the reverb's on. So 35% reverb. That's a pretty large amount of reverb. Okay, so now let's go into Facebook. We've got a little bit of reverb on. We've had to turn the monitoring off because it was just doing us in our headphones. So I'm kind of playing blind now. I'm trusting that the reverb is going to be okay in Facebook. And so what I'm going to be, it'll say there's a camera issue because OBS has already grabbed the camera. So I use a stream key. OBS still has the stream key from before. So I go start streaming. OBS doesn't complain, gives me a green light. Go back into Facebook, and it says connecting live video. All's working well. And we can go live, and we can see what it's like. There she sits on Buttermilk Hill. Oh, who could blame her for crying her fill? Every tear would turn a mill. Johnny has gone for a soldier. Okay, so let's have a listen to that. There she sits on Buttermilk Hill. Oh, who could blame her for crying her fill? Every tear would turn a mill. Johnny has gone for a soldier. Okay, that wasn't too bad. You can see I've made everything pretty orange with that some of the video filters I was putting on. The sound, you could hear the reverb loud and clear. It's quite interesting, wasn't it? 35% reverb, but it didn't sound overwhelming. But when we tried to monitor it, it sounded horrendous because we were getting that delay, that latency on top. So I had to go blind. I couldn't hear what I was playing, and I just trusted that the reverb was doing its job, and it did do its job perfectly. So that's where we go with OBS. And we run up against a slight barrier that we can't really get decent monitoring out of it. Maybe there's some people out there that can. I can't. So my next step is to actually put the sound into somewhere other than OBS, into another program. But that's for the next video. So this is a system that works, and you can set your sound up in OBS. And I should say, by the way, if you look down here, you can actually record locally. So that will just record the video locally, just like shooting a video file. So you can actually check your sound, and then with your monitoring turned off, go, without monitoring into Facebook and trusting that your sound is doing its job, and it should do its job. Okay, so that's it for this part of the video. I'll see you in a few minutes, or you have a look at the next part of the video, and we'll look at a way around the monitoring problem and a way of perhaps being a bit more courageous in the plugins that we use, the VST plugins.